The company is also plagued by the silo effect operationally, which, while it has its benefits in terms of focused customer acquisition and support for each product and service, has created a fragmented view of the company externally, as customers have to engage different teams for support and getting a different brand experience each time for what they consider to be one thing. Okay, so now we get into thematic analysis of what the company is experiencing, and we uncover 3 themes. First, the company is experiencing technology-driven disruption, where the management and use of data is being leveraged by competitors to eat into their market share. They have to find ways in which to navigate this massive threat, and one of the most effective ways to do this is to assess their strengths and use market and technological innovation around these strengths to regain their footing and take charge. The second theme is industry convergence. The competitor landscape has changed shape and has become unpredictable due to technological advances. Telcos are becoming financial services providers, and the exchange of money is no longer limited to traditional means. It's no longer about going into price wars with competitors and hiring seasonal campaign ambassadors at shopping malls. Gaining survival in the midst of severe competition has to take a different shape, and one of those shapes is partnerships with competitors. The interesting thing about industry convergence is that it muddies the water in terms of what constitutes anti-competitive behavior. Partnering with a competitor of a different shape, operating in a completely different industry, cannot, in fundamental terms, be considered to be collusion. The last theme to consider is corporate venturing. External venturing, such as going on an acquisition spree, might not be feasible at this stage. So internal innovation and new product portfolio innovation seems the best approach. The first point of approach might be to leverage existing capabilities that may not be able to help in growing the business-to-consumer market, but may be worthwhile to a different type of customer who can benefit from these strengths and capabilities. Now, let's explore these themes in greater detail, looking at some ideas around how repositioning could possibly be achieved. That top end of the market transactional customer base pretty much shaped itself on the back of the loyalty points campaign that was targeted at the entire customer base. So perhaps model more products based on preferences of these customers. One of the popular features on the transactional account is its low international transactional fees when traveling abroad and making online purchases from international vendors. So perhaps recenter the core offering of the transactional account to grow that customer base, lean into the secondary transactional account provider image and really address needs and preferences of this customer persona. Find similar customer personas in terms of preferences and create another customer group that can be grown. The company already has strong account management capability from their management style of the top-tier customer group. So why not leverage this capability to create an entirely new customer group, extending the top-tier offering to the high-income professional with a retail side hustle that could grow into a successful small business, or already has. How about leveraging risk profiling capability to create a B2B offering to drive partnerships and new revenue streams? Perhaps the company has a good track record of risk profiling, not getting baited into racial profiling. Insurance is still not a telco's core offering, so they may not have the appetite to hire expensive actuaries for risk modeling purposes. So access to a good profiling model with low risk misassignment, low revenue leakage probability, and little inherent bias as a service might be exactly what they need. There are a number of ways to explore that value construct. The point here is that there's always great opportunity in leveraging strong capability that already exists. And there are a number of ways to structure venturing around those opportunities. Okay, so now that we've covered the case study in great detail, let's now use it to build a strategic model through which to use API marketplaces to execute on innovation. A quick recap of our digital capability building endgame. Then, a quick recap of the disruption navigation repositioning strategy. The capability element that meets our repositioning approach is the creation of multiple customer value options based on customer preferences that we have deduced from the customer data we already have available. Then, for industry conversions repositioning, we select innovative product offerings through which the benefit for our customers will be faster and more accurate decision-making that will spread risk in a way that maximizes the output of the balance between revenue derived from the customer versus the cost of servicing and supporting that customer, the right premium at the right risk level. We move on to venturing. For which we choose tiered offerings as our capability endgame, targeting specific new profile groups, the persona model of which we can later monetize if our assumptions are proven true by data, especially if these persona groups show great propensity to want to spend on and consume specific products and services offered by entities in different industries, such as retail, perhaps. A recap of the repositioning model again. as well as a recap of capability building endgame we've selected for each repositioning theme. And now we start thinking about how to operationalize these capabilities. We will need somewhere to store these customer value options we are creating because they are likely to grow as we discover more customer preferences that create new revenue opportunities or drive new customer acquisition or loyalty. Financial products are not physical things you buy and walk away with in a box. They are mostly data constructs. We will need a good structured way to store these constructs, that is, a catalog. The technological enablement of this catalog will involve referencing a list of products and product features to build the various customer value options we come up with that we then structure into a catalog. This enablement will need to be scalable because we can't go into design mode every time we choose to either retire or add a new value option. It will have to be scalable to evolve with changing customer needs. So there, we've covered the strategic, operational, and technological views of the capability execution approach for disruption navigation. Move on to industry convergence. If we're going to be able to implement a successful product development cycle, churning out product options that directly respond to market needs for our repositioned suite of products, we're going to need an agile product management capability that is driven by data. Essentially, build data-driven agility within the product development function. Underpinning this data-driven, agile product development function is the service needs of customers across the suite of service channels and platforms, particularly for transactional and risk service offerings. We then arrive at our required capability view for the industry convergence theme. And finally, we deal with venturing. If we're going to implement a successful tiered offering portfolio, we're going to need to think about how we're going to do our inventory management. Sometimes it's not feasible to have a fully centralized product management function, as it can greatly slow down agility. The challenge then becomes that there's a great possibility of duplication and cannibalization across product suites and targeted markets. Inventory administration in this case will involve understanding what suite of products have been offered to customers across value options and tiers, and what other services these customers qualify for based on their service consumption profile. A combination of some low-margin offerings can build up to a top-tier offering, with the customer rightfully expecting top-tier value options, which is not ideal. In the process of building a product and service suite profile, customer acquisition or retention may require certain price concessions, and this requires a well-built billing function that is scalable and flexible enough to accommodate this type of operation in a standardized fashion, where the customer billing profile can be successfully built across the entire suite of products and services the customer is taking up.